Oh man, this isn't gonna work. Welcome back to the garage. We got some work to do. So as you guys know, the car did a wheelie. It's done the wheelies before. We've been struggling with this issue. We have the front tied down pretty good and the shock settings pretty tight. Normally when it does that, the car goes straight. We've been through a bunch of wheelies where the car's gone up on two wheels, but it's always gone straight on me. This time, it trekked to the left. I wasn't expecting it to trek to the left, so by the time the car came back down, I was already pointed towards a cone in the middle of the dragway. I should have just ran the cone over, gone to the left lane. I knew I had to buy, so I wasn't racing anyone. But my natural reaction was to jerk the wheel to the right and try to miss the cone. That was my mistake. That's the mistake that I made that caused the next series of events. Once I did that, the suspension unloaded and it started swerving to the right. I tried to correct to the left, but the wall at that point became a magnet and it just sucked me in. From there, the rest is history. You guys already know what happened. I think it's just something that you're not going to learn until it happens to you. Obviously, I'm safe. Everyone's been asking, but yeah, I am good. I'm safe. The car kept me safe. The cage, everything, the harness, everything that I have kept me well in place. It didn't hurt at all. The only thing that I can take from this is that I learned from it, and that in the future, if I ever get in a situation, I make the correct decision, not jerk the wheel like I did. I paid the price. The car is hurt, as you can see. Let's get in here and find out exactly what's wrong with it. So right off the bat, obviously the quarter panel and the door are hurt. This is one of the major things. The quarter panel is I mean, it's toast. It's crimped here at the seam. It's pushed in quite a bit. The good news is that I've already looked inside. But the good news is it looks like the inner structure is okay. We do have mini tubs, but the mini tub attaches to the inner structure that's in here. And it looks fine, so I think the quarter panel just needs a skin. It's gonna take some work. So, I mean, that's the least of my concerns, really. I would live with the damage even if I had to. The door is completely garbage. It's separated, the shell separated from the skin itself in several spots, so the door is useless. It's got tons and tons of damage there. I also suspect that this A-pillar right here is actually pushed in a little bit. We won't know until we get it on a frame machine, but I'm pretty solid to say that this A-pillar is probably pushed in a little bit. The third structural thing that's damaged is this strut tower is actually also pushed in that way. As you can see right here, this is it actually broke this ignition coil from when it took damage and it flexed in. It barely kissed this ignition coil and broke the tip right off of it. So this strut tower is pushed in, as well as the frame. My rock solid Motorsports motor plate is actually bent. You can see right there. So that's basically telling me that the frame is also pushed in. The frame, the tower, the quarter panel, the door, the fender, that seems to be the majority of the damage as far as structural for the car. The next couple of things is just the suspension on the car. Obviously the inner tie rod's broke. It didn't actually break until I got to the pits. I broke it driving it from the ticket booth to the pits. It was just bent, but I pretty much killed it from there. You see the lower control arm is actually separated and bent up, so the lower control arm is garbage. One of my biggest concerns is that this double adjustable coilover from Viking is messed up. I don't think it is, because it's one of those Heim joints at the top and at the bottom, and it's kind of twisted, but it's because it's on those joints. So I think the strut made it. We won't know until we take everything completely apart. I suspect that this axle is actually bent, but I can't tell if it's I can't tell if it's the axle or the wheel. So once we get the front suspension handle, we're gonna swap wheels and rotate it and see if it's wobbling. If not, then I know it's the wheel, and I think we can get the wheel fixed. But that pretty much sums up the suspension. The oil cooler, it's also bleeding everywhere, so it's broken as well. I went ahead and made a list of what we're gonna need to source. K-member, lower control arm, we're going to replace the upper ball joint. The outer tie rods, like I said, we're going to have to replace those. Probably the right rear axle once we confirm it. We're going to go ahead and get new travel limiters because it broke the weld on my travel limiters. The transcooler, like I said, the motor plate's bent. Check that right rear. We actually have a spare right front wheel because this one I think is toast. But I do have a spare right rear wheel that I keep. So we're gonna get that painted and put back on the car. This tire was brand new and it's garbage now. So we're gonna need a new tire. And that pretty much sums up what's wrong with the car. As far as the suspension, I'm gonna be looking everywhere for suspension stuff. Maybe I can find a used K-member. Maybe I can find some used lower control arms and go from there. The outer tie rods are pretty inexpensive. The ball joint stuff also. Hopefully that axle turns out okay. So if you know anyone selling that stuff, parting out a car, let me know. Send me a message. But that's what I'll be looking for here pretty soon. So that's the update. That's it for now. I want to thank everybody for reaching out. I've been getting tons of messages. And also everybody that's bought a shirt or a hat. Thank you guys. Do appreciate it. We're almost out of stock. I have a couple hats left and I think one shirt. So if you haven't seen my previous posts, if you want anything, just send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. Like I said, I still have some things up for sale there. As far as the car, we're gonna keep chipping away at it. It's a shame because we didn't even get to do a reveal video on this thing. We upgraded turbos from the 6972s that we had. Those are on Andy's Rat Rod, which we'll do a video on later. These are BorgWarner 72s, 75s. We also upgraded the downpipes. I don't know if you guys noticed, these are 4-inch downpipes as well, which we kind of did last minute. We still need to do some trimming on this side. We changed the valve covers to the ones that allow the coils on top to keep ignition issues from creeping up on us. It was so nice being able to put the plug and the wire back where they originally go and not have any issues when it comes to changing the plugs on these. That's one of the things I complained about the most last year. How big of a pain in the butt it was to change plugs. That's gone with these rock solid Motorsport headers. That is completely gone. It's been really nice, even though I've only got to do it once really. But it's been really nice. And then these ceramic plug wires that we got from Cell have been super nice. This is going to keep us from pretty much having any kind of ignition issue pop up when it comes to the wires burning. So these are ceramic. That coupled with the new clearance that we have and just trying to take away as many ignition issues that would pop up normally out of the equation so that we can run our best. For the setting that we were at, well, especially the night before, the car was running really well. We are going to make some changes while we're going ahead and do this. I'm tired of wheelies. Someone had made a comment that every wheelie costs about $1,000, and that's absolutely true. Absolutely hate wheelies. I know you guys like them. It's great for content. The pictures, as you can see from our friends at 1320, are awesome, but I don't like it. I don't like doing wheelies at all. It always costs me something, whether it's an oil pan or now it costs me a lot of things. So we're gonna make a change. The original plan was to sell the Turbo 400 and go Paraglide. That's off the table now since we have to put some money into some suspension. What we're gonna do instead is I'm gonna replace the valve body in the Turbo 400 to a second gear leave. It should allow me to leave quicker out of the hole, even though we're already cutting 1/2/8. It's not quick enough. We're also thinking about bolting on some weight to the front of this nose, like the professionals do, to keep the nose down. I think we're gonna be okay. Now we won't know till we get to the track and we start testing, because it's going to be a whole new setup. All we got to do is just start sourcing some parts and get this car back together. I also have a surprise coming that maybe release next video. We'll have to see how it turns out first, but I have something else up my sleeve. But for now, I'm going to get back to work.